Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1494A, and today's date is February 9th, 2018, and the title of the episode is Financial Pundits Are Calling It. They're saying, expect the crash. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, it looks like the deep state, the central bankers, they are getting very, very nervous at this point. We see the market came down like 500-something points, and all of a sudden, we had this mass amount of buying at the last minute to push the market up something like 300 points. This is a battle between the individuals in the Trump administration and the deep state and the central bankers. And we can see on Friday, we finished on a high note, so people go into the weekend feeling good. Now, this is what the central bankers, the deep state, used to do to cover up everything that they were doing before. As they were pushing their manipulation, they made you feel great over the weekend because the stock market went up. What they really wanted to do this time, and now everything is the opposite. Everything is not what it seems anymore. What they really wanted to do is they wanted to bring the market down quite a bit. And it looks like there was a battle going on, and it looks like they lost out this time. And we see that the central bankers, they're getting very nervous about cryptocurrencies. Now, the reason why they're getting so nervous about cryptocurrencies, and this is very important because when we go into this transition, they're worried about the blockchain system becoming the new currency of countries and the world, and the central bankers would be obsolete. And this is why we see the World Bank chief is out there saying that cryptocurrency is one gigantic Ponzi scheme. And this is the World Bank Group president, Jim Young Kim. And he's saying that this whole thing is a Ponzi scheme. It's a bubble. And, this is just something that you don't want to get into. Now, think about this. The individuals who are creating currency out of thin air, who created their own Ponzi scheme, now they can detect Ponzi schemes, they can detect bubbles, and they can let everyone know. They don't know if the stock market's in a bubble. They don't know if there's a housing bubble. They don't know if there are any bubbles out there except for cryptocurrencies. The only thing they do know is that the crypto market is a Ponzi scheme. And we see right now they're getting very nervous, and this is why they've been demonizing the crypto market, because they're worried that as this continues on and more corporations, more and more countries, more and more people say, you know something? Why don't we use the blockchain as our currency system? Why do we need the central bank? Because we can create currency. Think about this for a second. We can create currency out of thin air, and there is no interest attached. Don't the central bankers do the same exact thing? But they charge us interest? When I say we, I'm talking about the governments and then the people. It always goes back to the people. So why do we need the central banking establishment? We can do this on our own. Actually, this is what the founding fathers have said all along. Let the people coin their own money. And there's no interest attached. And they're getting very nervous about this because, as we can see, the system is getting prepared and getting ready to transition into a new system. Now, of course, the central bankers, they want their system. They like their fiat currency. They like loaning it to governments. It keeps them in control. They can start wars with it. They can do whatever they want. If the people decide to take control and countries and the people in those countries move away from the fiat system and move into the crypto sphere, the central bankers have no control anymore. They lose their control. They're not needed anymore. And then this filters down to the banking community, and so on and so on. And this is why they've been so desperate to demonize the blockchain, the cryptocurrencies. They've been so desperate to try to take control of it, to steer people away from it. And we could see that at every turn, the blockchain, the crypto market, is going to continue to rise. Even if they push it down, even if they try to do it, it's going to continually push upward. Because the people realize that this is a system for them. And this is why we hear the IMF, the central bankers, the biz, the Fed, banks, they're all out there saying, don't use the crypto market. Actually, we won't let you buy cryptos with credit cards. They'll let you buy everything else with credit cards, but not cryptocurrencies. It's amazing. They'll let you buy everything else except for cryptocurrencies. It's amazing. And what we're seeing right now is that this economy that we're in, and if we look very closely at it, the people's economy is deteriorating very, very quickly. This whole thing's built on an illusion. It's not real. The central bankers created it, the help with the deep state, and the whole thing's starting to break down now. Actually, the credit markets are starting to snap as the equity markets are continually having this volatility, and it looks like the contagion might be spreading. And if the credit markets start to break down like they did back in 2008, we're in for a lot of trouble. Now, there are many people like Bill Holter and many others who said once the credit system breaks down, even Wolf Richter has said once the credit system breaks down, this is when the trouble starts. Because when the credit system breaks down, we're not going to get deliveries. We're not going to be able to stock our shelves in the stores. That means everything else breaks down and the whole thing starts to fall apart. And this is what we're seeing right now. Now, what's very interesting is that China already downgraded the United States because we have too much debt. And they're saying that, the United States is a risk. Moody's, well, they're threatening to downgrade the United States. Remember back in 2011 when Standard & Poor's shocked the world and said we are going to downgrade, and they did downgrade the United States, and the Obama administration went after them and forced them to reverse their decision? I mean, think about what's happening right now. Moody's is looking at the economy, and they were going to do this back when the debt level was around 14 trillion, around that area. Here we are at 20 trillion, moving towards 21 trillion. And we can see right now, they're saying that, yeah, this whole thing is a complete disaster. Now, they might not fully downgrade the United States. Maybe there'll be pressure on them not to do it, but they might take the outlook from stable to negative and then downgrade the United States. And this is going to be a disaster because when you start doing this, the rest of the world sees it and says, okay, they're a little bit riskier now. Should we hold the treasury bonds? Should we really hold the US dollars? And we're seeing countries reject the dollar now. China already downgraded the United States. If Moody's goes ahead and they actually downgrade, then S&P downgrades and Fitch downgrades, guess what happens? Countries are going to look at this and say, you know something? Maybe we should ditch the dollar. Because we could see right now, these agencies are already reporting that there are problems in the U.S. And this will start the whole thing. And the whole thing will start to crash because what they're seeing right now is that the economy of the United States, because if the economy was strong and we are getting all this taxable income coming in and we had a robust economy, we had GDP at 3.5% or 2.6, they're saying it's great. Why in the world would there be a problem in the United States? They're telling us that that doesn't matter. It all does. And we could see right now, if the economy is so great, guess what? They wouldn't be looking to downgrade. Actually, the economy the U.S. economy should have been downgraded back in 2011. Actually, probably prior to that. But the government at the time stopped them from doing it because they knew what was going to happen. And here we are today where we should be downgraded even further. China already, their credit rating agency, which they created to mimic the Western agencies, they've already downgraded the United States. So we're on a path of complete disaster. Now we have many financial pundits out there like Peter Schiff, like Jim Rogers, and many, many others who are saying that this is going to be a complete and utter disaster. Actually, Peter Schiff is out there saying that the U.S. is headed for a sovereign debt and a currency crisis. Gunlock is out there saying the unwind will be turbulent. Jim Rogers is saying next bear market will be the worst in his life. And they're already calling it, saying that we're heading towards this crash. Now, of course, we know the stock market is completely manipulated. We know that they can bring it up, they can bring it down. They have the plunge protection team. They can get the free money from the central banks. Central banks can then bring it down by stopping other central banks from investing in the market. They can stop the banks from investing in the stock market, because we know that this is not a free and open market. And what we see happening right now is we see this battle going on between two factions. And right now, the faction that was in charge kept the market going up, tried to convince everyone that everything was fine. They were going to try to have an event to explain away why the economy was coming down. Now, they have this individual, Trump, and others that are in his administration and behind the scenes that they don't want in there because they can't be bribed, they can't be blackmailed, and they've been trying, they just can't do it. And they don't want this system to go any further. They want to bring it down, and they want to blame it on them. And you can see this is exactly what they're trying to do. This is their push because, again, they're in trouble. So we're going to see a roller coaster ride in the markets probably almost every single day. Maybe we'll skip a day or here or there, but we're going to see like these big, gigantic swings. Now, of course, the corporate media, they're trying to make heads and tails of all this. They're trying to figure out, well, this is why this is happening. The whole thing's manipulated. And they're going to put spins on all of it, saying that this is what a normal market looks like. And they're trying to come up with everything they possibly can think of why this is happening. The real reason why all this is happening is because there's a battle going on right now. We have a faction that's in trouble that wants to crash everything to distract from all of this. They might even try an event, which is much larger. Maybe they'll combine the two. We don't know. There's another faction who wants the system to stay afloat a little bit longer to prepare us for a transition. They already know the system's coming down. They already know it's a disaster. They already know this debt is unsustainable. They already know these job numbers, they're fake, phony, and false. The market's fake, phony, and false. Why not use this against those individuals who've been using this all along to prepare the country for a transition? A transition away from the central banking system. And this is what they're doing. And of course, who is trying to stop them? The deep state, the central bankers. And this is why we see this battle going on. This is why we see the markets moving up and down like this. And we're going to continue to see this. It's going to get worse. And when I say worse, I don't mean the market's going to dip, by 5,000 points, because we can see there's two sides to both of the market where they're pushing it up, the other group is pushing it down, and they're going to continue to do this. And this is going to be a battle until something breaks, until something else happens. And what could that be? I'm thinking an event. Because as time goes on and they see they're not getting anywhere with this, they're going to bring out the big guns. And it just won't be an economic collapse. They'll have something else that will push this even further. Now, QAnon has mentioned this. He said, expect a major false flag, all caps. And we can see that we might be heading down this path. So no matter what happens, you need to be prepared, because it looks like, most likely, and I'm not putting any type frames on this at all, that we're heading into a period where it's going to be very unstable. And anything could happen. And no matter what, the entire world is going to go through a transition. Will it be a central banking transition? Or will it be a transition into the crypto market without the central bankers? That's the big question here. So get prepared, because it's going to be a very bumpy ride. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.